Hey everybody, so I wanted to share with you that everything is not always just great, so I am, and I know a lot of us, all of us, go through a lot of challenges and dealing with problems, and I think that's part of this hobby is having to go through a lot of frustrations along with your successes and things like that. And right now I'm going through a lot of frustrations. We got back from our trip out west, which was a fantastic time, and amazing skies. It was just a great experience. Got back, and I haven't been able to successfully capture an image on my system since I got back. What's happening, and I'm going to show you here in just a minute, is that the capture is not detecting that it can't get the image exposure and then send it off to save it to either locally or remotely on the Raspberry Pi. So I can't save an image. It just basically resets and starts over again. So I have been doing troubleshooting here for 4 nights now and some daytime. To no success so far, but I'm kind of narrowing it down. I ordered a 4-port hub, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect all of my gear from the Raspberry Pi and connect it directly to this notebook that I'm recording on right now, and run it from a local indie server and see if I get the same symptoms. So anyway, if you want to check out what I'm going through, stick around. I'll show you what the symptoms are, and I don't have a solution yet, but I'm in the process of trying to learn. And depending on how my tests go here, I might learn something and be able to make a decision on what my next steps are. So anyway, my name is Doug, and this is AstroAF. All right, so I have a session open here, and I just have like a 30-second exposure set up, and just to illustrate what I'm seeing here, a basic setup with a 30-second exposure, and I have the sequence queued up. So I'm just going to hit start, and then we'll take a look over here and watch the progress on it. So what we would normally be expecting here is when this progress indicator, this red line that's coming across, finishes, I should have an image that comes up in the FITS viewer, and then I will have that image will then be saved. But as we get to the completion of this exposure, watch what happens. So it hesitates, and then nothing. And then what it has done is that it has started the exposure over again. So as you can see, this progress bar is now moving back across, and it'll cycle through this until it crashes the system, which I'm going to stop it before it gets to that point, because after 3 it just ends up crashing K-stars completely. So I'll abort that. So that's the symptom. I will show some logging here so that you can kind of see what I was seeing. This logging is what I already had from, I think, yesterday. So I'll just use that log. It's the same logging that I currently have. I set up debugging on the camera, and just to see if it would give me any useful information. I did reach out to ASI, and they thought it was symptomatic of driver problems. So that would be interesting. I reached out over on the IndieLib forums, and I have not gotten a response back from anyone over there. Once I have more information, I think I might post back in that channel. And if I have any indication from my testing tonight that this could be a driver problem, then I might raise a support ticket with StellarMate on that, because I did just they had a minor update that I installed, but I can't verify that I didn't have the problem prior to that update. In fact, I think I installed the update as a result of me noticing I was having a problem. So I don't think it's that particular update. And prior to that, I was having no problems whatsoever. So I have a sneaking suspicion that it's related to the USB bus on my Raspberry Pi, and that something might have gone wrong with that. And I think I can verify that by running everything through my machine locally instead of on the Raspberry Pi. And if everything works, then I think I have it isolated to an issue with the Raspberry Pi, or it's a software issue, possibly a driver issue. And before I go buy another Raspberry Pi, I thought I might explore that. I might even wipe the Raspberry Pi OS, the StellarMate OS completely off and do a fresh install. And again, before I go buy another Raspberry Pi, just as a final attempt to fix something that I think is isolated, to that. But I really won't know until after I try running this locally on this machine and see if I have the same results, or if everything starts working as it is expected to, then I know it's isolated to the Raspberry Pi. So that's my method of thinking and troubleshooting on this. I'm just trying to isolate where the problem may be. And so we will go from there. So at this point, I'm going to move out to I'm going to shut all this down, and then I'm going to move out to the telescope and connect there. And so I will join you back once I get out there. Okay, so I have set up a local test profile, and in this profile I've just recreated everything from my main profile, so it's exactly the same. I'm not going to use it all, but I just wanted to have the entire profile set up, and then I'm going to go ahead and launch it and see if it works. Starting Indy. It should be using the local Indy server now. So we've got a connection. That should suffice. And then secondary is the 120, and we're guiding via the EQ mod mount, and that should be close enough. All right, so let's see if we can take an exposure. So I'll set up another 30-second exposure. And not that it matters, but we'll go ahead and set the temperature. Filter, it doesn't really matter. Gain of 100, offset of 10, and that's correct. And we'll just go ahead and do that. And let's see if we can capture an image. And we did capture an image. So what that tells me is that it's not a problem with my camera, which is wonderful. It seems to be a problem with the USB bus on the Raspberry Pi, and or it could be a driver problem in the StellarMate application. So I'll need to do some more research into that. So anyway, this was great. So I learned a lot, and hopefully that gave you some information if you run into something similar on just some troubleshooting steps that you might be able to take by working and isolating things. So I'll get back to you here in just a minute. All right, so I'm really pleased with the results of the testing. The whole thing is a real bummer, and it's a pain, and I am missing out on clear night after clear night after clear night, which is very disappointing. And that makes it frustrating, but this hobby is a wonderful hobby. I enjoy it so much. And, honestly, taking on problems and trying to figure out solutions is part of the fun of the hobby, even though it's frustrating. I just sort of try to continue to make forward progress and learn along the way, working within the system that I have, and which happens to be on a Raspberry Pi, running StellarMate, and maybe I've hit some sort of limitation. Maybe it's weather related. It could be from the traveling. Maybe something got bumped on the way. As hard as I tried to protect everything and as good as I packed everything, and I made sure and I unplugged all the individual cables, from the Raspberry Pi and from the power hub, so that there weren't any cables sticking out that could get bumped and damage, the ports that they're plugged into. That's pretty easy to do if you leave things plugged in. I unplugged all that. So I really don't know what happened, all in padded cases and protected. So it could have just been jarred around from bumps on the road or something like that. I don't know. I don't have a way of determining that. So I'm just going to continue troubleshooting here. I have it isolated to the Raspberry Pi, and it's either drivers on the Raspberry Pi or it is the hardware for the USB hub on the Raspberry Pi that's causing the problem. So I'll need to continue working on that and figure out what that is. And obviously I'll let you know when I find out. Should have enough information to make a decision on what my next steps are going to be here in the next day or so. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck to you if you're having problems. Keep working through it. Let me know if you're having any type of similar problems. It's good to know that you're not alone for sure. So I would love to hear from you. If you have things that you're working through, let me know. So anyway, thank you very much. I'm Doug, and this is AstroAF. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if I've earned your subscription, pressing that subscribe button would be amazing. So thank you very much. Cheers and clear skies.